Okay, today we're looking at 26.1, the start of World War I, as far as causes, alliances, and other things that are going on, conditionally speaking, to cause the Great War to begin. That being said, key term number 1, will you please read the definition and then provide the term? Student, go ahead.
Created dynamite sets up the Nobel Peace Prize to reward individuals' work towards world peace. Alfred Nobel.
Alfred Nobel. Very good. Okay. Term number 2. Student in the back.
Nationalist movement which intended to unite all people of Slavic heritage. Pan-Slavism.
Pan-Slavism. Very good. Now with this, let's analyze our first portion of this term. Pan. What does that mean? You guys ever heard that before?
Like,
How about if I say the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic?
I know an epidemic.
Well, what's an epidemic?
It's like a bad thing that can happen. Like it's basically.
isn't it something that
It's
we
like
don't know about?
Is
Like a
it?
disease?
Okay, it involves a disease. Very good. Now what about this? Nate?
Pan is like universal.
Decker?
Epidemic is a fast-spreading disease.
An epidemic is a fast-spreading disease. A pandemic is an epidemic, but on a global spectrum. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, it would be like how some of you would ally yourself as being an American, but also a Christian. Does that make sense? If you're an American, that hails only to the United States, but if you're a Christian, that includes millions of people globally. It's the difference between Slavism locally, maybe just within Mother Russia, compared to Slavism all of Europe. Okay? Next term. Mr. Baki?
Germany, Austria, Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. Central powers.
The Central Powers or the Triple Alliance. However you'd like to term that, both of those are correct, though. Okay, very good. And then the other side of our conflict, go ahead.
France, Russia, Great Britain, and eventually the United States and Japan. Allies.
The Allied Powers or the Triple Entente. Very good. Okay, our next term. Go ahead right up front.
The glorification of the militarism.
Militarism, very good. The glorification of the military. Now, what is one of the most easy ways for a person to see what kind of government a person has and whether or not it's militaristic in nature?
Talk about Iraq and what's his name? Bin Laden.
Yeah, well, not Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein. Okay, if you're looking at an example, Iraq, Iran, Saddam Hussein, or if you want to talk about Cuba with Fidel Castro, typically those leaders, if it's highly emphasizing militarism, always appear in what?
Military clothing.
Military uniform. Very good. Okay, because not only are they proud of this, they want the world to see it as well. Okay, for example, when you look at military generals in the U.S. or any other country, how do you know how effective and how experienced they are? What does their uniform look like? Brad?
A lot of badges.
A lot of badges. What are other icons as far as like a general? How powerful can you tell the general?
Stars.
The amount of stars they have. Very good. If they are a 4-star general, meaning they've been around a long time and are very effective at what they do. For example, General Petraeus, handling the conflict in Afghanistan. 4-star general. Who is the only 5-star general?
Hey.
World War II, do you guys know? Comes president.
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower, very good. Okay? That being said, let's continue with our terms. Next term, number 6, please. Brad?
Archduke of Austria-Hungary assassinated while on a visit to Sarajevo.
Sarajevo.
Ferdinand.
Franz Ferdinand, very good. Next term. Matthew?
Assassinated the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, member of the Black Hands, Gavrilo Princip.
Gavrilo Princip, very good. So basically, an easier way to understand this, to look at where the conflict actually starts as far as this war, number 7 assassinates number 6. Okay? That's an easy way to go ahead and understand that. That being said, term number 8. Trevor?
Historical terrorist group with ultimate goal of reviving a Slavic state, Black Hands.
The Black Hands, very good. Number 9. Lizzie?
Germany's plan to avoid a two-front war. It was believed that Russia's large military would be slow to mobilize, so they could attack on France's eventual Schleifen plan.
Schleifen plan. For whatever reason that does it sometimes. The Schleifen plan, very good. Now remember, the most important idea here, Plan to avoid two-front war. We know, historically speaking, if you're familiar with World War I, World War II, Germany's involved in both. Germany gets stuck with a two-front war in both, and Germany, fortunately, does what in both? Loses, absolutely. Okay, number 10. Blake.
Final set of demands, ultimatum.
Ultimatum, very good. Ultimately speaking, you have to do this. This is an easy way to understand it. An ultimatum, final set of demands. Mr. Rowland, number 11.
Prepare military forces for war. Mobilize.
Mobilize. And then finally, number 12. Ms. Mead.
Supporting neither side of the war, neutrality.
Supporting neither side of the war is neutrality. Now, are we a neutral nation during this time period?
Yes.
Yes. Who's our president?
Barack Obama.
Woodrow Wilson.
I'm sorry.
Woodrow Wilson. He's adamant about remaining neutrality. Okay? Very good. Next section of the notes. All you got to do is expand upon the sentence. Number 1. The German occupation of Alsace and Lorraine led to what? Mr. Kelly.
Balkan states attacking Turkey, causing Balkans to be called the powder keg.
No, not yet. Okay? Speaking specifically with French here. Alsace and Lorraine. Balky?
Panslavism?
Nope. What do you guys think here, Gilbert?
French nationalism.
Extreme French nationalism. Very good. Now remember, with this section, you can write everything down, or you can write down what I underlined. Okay, so you have bitterness and tension, French nationalism. Consider this, and I brought this up the other day. Consider this, you live in the Upper Peninsula. We go to war with Canada, and for whatever reason, they end up claiming the Upper Peninsula after that. For all of your life, you deem yourself a Michigander and an American. But now you're currently being controlled by Canada. How openly accepting of that are you going to be? Many people are going to be like, this is ridiculous, something needs to happen. That's what's going on right now. Bitterness, tension, they do not like German occupation. Okay? And they're feeling exceptionally full of pride about their French heritage. Something's going to happen, and it's going to be World War I. Number 2, Russia felt obligated to defend all Slavs because of why? Nate?
It was the largest Slav state.
Very good. Intense cultural ties to the Slavs. So cultural ties to the Slavs. Slavic state. Very good. Excellent job. Number 3. By 1914, the Balkans were called the powder keg of Europe because of why? Mr. Duckert?
A barrel of gunpowder that a tiny spark can ignite.
So we have that reference to a barrel of powder, or the tiny spark could just set it up, just like in National Treasure, Secret Lies of Charlotte. Same theory there, but what's going on? Why is this considered to even be like that?
They were fighting for freedom against the Ottoman and Austria-Hungary empires.
Very good. They're fighting for freedom against the AH Empire. Okay? Fighting for freedom, so elements of tension. Nationalistic movements, your pride that you are a Serb, your pride, that you're from Bosnia or Herzegovina, and you're fighting against the occupation of Austria-Hungary. That's that whole theory of you lived in the Upper Peninsula, you're a Michigander, but not right now. Number 4, as a result of Germany's growing economy, Britain did what? Caden?
Pope threatened and Britain strengthened its ties
with other nations, absolutely. Okay, they're fearful of the growth of the German military as well as the economy and economic success. They increased industrialization and expanded foreign markets. And here we're going to talk about specifically where from 4 to 5. Okay, so we recognize the Germans are rising in economic value. They're wealthy. They have weapons. We need to catch up. Okay? Number 5, as a result of competition for the colonies, Britain and France did what? Matthew?
Had a big part in the partition of Asia and Africa.
In the partition of Asia and Africa. Very good. Now, what does partition mean? What do you guys remember of that term? Nate?
Splitting up.
To split up, to separate. Absolutely. Okay? They're going to work with France to divide up basically the continent of Africa amongst some other nations to determine who gets what territory for natural resources and human capital. Number 6. The arms race was a result of what? Matthew?
I said stirring of national public opinion against rival countries.
Yeah. Nationalistic movements against rival countries, absolutely. Okay? Basically, it's that whole theory, you know, country A versus country B. Country A has all kinds of weapons, the best destroyers, airplanes, nuclear warheads. Country B, not exceptionally loved by country A, so they need to catch up. That way, if they do go to war, it's not just going to be an obliteration. Okay? Number 7, as a result of increasing tension between countries, military leaders, Brad?
Prepared their armies for war.
Okay, mobilized their forces for war, as well as stockpiled munitions. Which means what? You're preparing for war, but what else are you doing? Or how are you preparing? Trevor?
You're stockpiling on ammo and weapons.
Yeah, you're building your ammo and weapons supply. That way, if you do go to war, you can last in it for quite some time. Also, one thing I want you guys to have is the use of international alliances. Some people, fiscally speaking, so involving money, can't purchase a lot of weapons. But you could form an alliance with a country that does. Okay, if you look at the structure of the United Nations now, on the Security Council, meaning the permanent members, the United States is on that. Obviously, given the study of history, we're very effective in war. Okay, so having us in that organization, other countries such as Israel feel safer. Does that make sense? Because they don't have, you know, the size and strength of the army that we have, but we're involved in a peace treaty with that country to support them should some kind of conflict occur. Number 8, fear and distrust between nations led to, Mr. Hammerdinger?
Triple alliance.
Okay, various alliances, absolutely, and secret treaties. Triple alliance and triple entente. Those are the examples, so alliances and treaties. Absolutely. And finally, number 9, Bismarck signed with Austria-Hungary, Russia, and Italy because of why? What is he looking to do? Lizzie?
I had France wouldn't attack Germany without help.
Okay, so ensure protection. What else is he looking to do with this, though? Aaron?
I had wanted to promote security and peace.
Security and peace for his people, but what is the ultimate goal of Germany during World War I and World War II? What do you guys think?
I said that France wanted to avenge its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War. Was
No? Expand territory. Opportunity for continental conquest. Okay, if you look at who they're signing with here, Austria-Hungary has a decent amount of territory. It's an empire. Okay? Russia is an exceptionally large nation. Italy has a prime location on the Mediterranean. Does that make sense? It's like if you look at the value of the Great Lakes to the whole Midwest as far as just shipping stuff, there's a lot of value there because the ships will travel all the way into Chicago and they have either by rail or over to the Mississippi to be able to reach major city centers. Okay? Same theory there. Italy is a prized possession of the Mediterranean. Moving on. Question number 1 as far as expansion notes, section 2. Why were Serbian revolutionaries angered by the date of Francis Ferdinand's visit to Sarajevo? Ms. Bragg?
Conquered by the Ottoman Empire on that date.
Very good. There's a few things that are icons of this date. That was the date they were conquered by the Ottomans, okay, as well as the date Serbia freed themselves from Turkish rule. So essentially, it's a political holiday. Now, if you look at this, one of which they were conquered, the other, freedom occurred. And here you have a political leader parading through your city, looking prominent, looking important, and all of the greatness that he represents, knowing full well that that person helps control you. Okay? It's a foreign government leader parading through your city, basically saying, here I am, I'm glorious, and all of you bow down to me. How many people are just like, yeah, let's go to this parade and have fun? No. No. So number 2, what happened when Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie visited Sarajevo? Brad?
Both were assassinated.
Very good. Murdered by a Serbian nationalist known as Gavrilo Princip. Okay? Why did Austria declare war on Serbia? So now we've had the event. The spark in our Balkan powder keg is ignited. Why are we going to war here, Nate?
Serbia did not fully agree with the ultimatum.
Absolutely. They only agreed to portions of the ultimatum, and that's not how an ultimatum works. Ultimatum, if there are 5 items, you have to agree to all 5 or not at all. Okay? Your parents tell you to clean the room, wash the car, do the dishes, and all you do is clean your room. They're taking your cell phone. You didn't listen. The same theory we have going on here, but on a government level. Number 4. Why did the Russians begin to mobilize for war? Mr. Fowler?
Their plea failed.
Say that again?
Their plea failed.
Their plea failed. Whose plea, though? Who are they working with?
Austria?
Not quite.
Germany.
Nope. Who's Russia, a Slavic nation, going to support here?
Serbia.
Serbia. Very good. So when Austria and Serbia declare war upon each other, Russia is going to go on and assist the Serbs. That being said, the ultimatum was an effort to halt progress. Okay? You basically had to renounce for quite some time your political rights. Your rights is almost a humanistic nature. And that just doesn't coincide with the goals of humanity. Okay? Having cultural similarity, Russia will back Serbia. And that's one of the major reasons that we're going to be coming in to this war on the side of Great Britain. Okay? Number 5. Why did the British declare war on Germany? Ms. Turner?
Germany invaded Belgium.
Very good. Germany invaded Belgium. And we vowed to protect them. Geographically speaking, just next door. Okay? Would be like, for whatever reason, Canada decided to invade the United States. Mexico might go to war on our side. Because they know that if Canada is overly aggressive, they could just keep moving south. Okay? Whereas if Mexico allies itself with the United States, they can at least halt that movement and push them forward. Okay? Moving on. Here, we're going to analyze our map. Now, this is a strategy that you must have to be successful on the MME as well as the ACT. Some of the questions I'm going to ask you are very simple. Others are more complex. That being said, raise your hand if you can tell me what the brown color means. Nate?
Neutral nations.
Neutral nations. Very good. How about the yellow color? Miss Bragg?
Central powers.
Central powers. And then finally, even us with green. Miss Cardella?
Allied powers.
Allied powers. How about the blue? What is the blue there?
This is water.
Blue is water. Very good. Okay? Now that being said, if you look closely, and you know how to read a map here, why are some of the cities just dots and others are circled stars? What does a circled star mean? Michaela?
The capital.
It's the capital of the country. Very good. That being said, where is the scale of the map? Brad?
Wait.
Where is the map scale?
Bottom right.
The bottom right, located in what sea?
Oh, Mediterranean.
Very good, the Mediterranean. Excellent. Where is the compass rose? Mr. Balky?
Top left.
Top left, located next to what country?
The United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom. What does the compass rose tell us? Roland?
North, south, east, and west.
Right, our cardinal directions. Now that being said, if you look at this map, you'll notice that north is pointing this direction, though. Why not just straight up? What do you guys think? Alex?
Because of the Robinson projection, how they made the maps.
Because of the type of projection, absolutely. If this was a Mercator projection, which is what our massive mural is in the back, north would always point straight up. But that's not the type of map we're looking at. It's more based on the structure of a globe. Excellent job. There's another item in our key that represents these little helmets. What are those? Mr. Fowler.
100,000 troops.
100,000 troops. Very good. Now that being said, who has the smallest military? Be careful. You gotta look here. You gotta look at all colored nations. Who has the smallest military? Caden?
Serbia.
Do they? Good. Nazlak?
United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom. Very good.
Blends in.
It does blend in. You gotta be careful there. Okay. Who has the largest military? Mr. Hurley?
Germany.
Germany. Very good. Now remember, you have to take every one of those and multiply it by 100,000. Okay? So look at this. Look at those two countries. Almost next door neighbors. How well will United Kingdom stand alone in a conflict should Germany invade?
Not well.
Not very well. They have to rely on foreign alliances. That's why we have them. Okay? Excellent job, all of you. Objectives. Explain why many people in the early 1900s believed that war is unlikely. It's not going to happen, according to several people. Michaela?
It had universal peace conferences that were used to prevent major wars and form alliances.
Very good. So we have our first Universal World Peace Conference, coupled with the Olympics, which, obviously if you watched just recently, that's a component of pride. Okay? A lot of times everything stops and you cheer on your country, regardless if you even like the sport. Okay? I respect swimmers. I'm not a huge fan of it, but man, when Michael Phelps is in the pool, I'm watching it because it's awesome. Go America. That being said, we have that component. The Hague Tribunal establishes a world court deemed at ensuring peace. Okay? They will handle conflict to ensure peace. Nobel Peace Prize is awarded to individuals. Who's that named after? Say it again? Alfred Nobel. Very good. Now, what did he invent that caused this somewhat of a guilt complex?
Dynamite.
Dynamite, absolutely. Next objective. Identify the forces pushing Europe towards war. Mr. Vanetta?
The Allies, France, Britain, and Russia, and the Central Powers, Austria, Hungary, Germany, and the Ottoman Empire.
You've given us our sides. Why are they looking at war, though? So we know we have a pretty even split as far as personnel. Mr. Deckert?
Competition for colonies and nationalist tension.
Very good. Nationalistic movements in the Balkans. Competition for colonies. 1 second. Oh boy. Okay. Nationalistic movements in the Balkans. Very good. Okay, so we have that powder kegs erupting. Germany's rapid industrialization. Just referring to that map. Soldier count. Okay? Something needs to be done. Increased militarism. Again, look at that map. Some people need to step their game up, to say it simply. And then arms races. Excellent job. Okay? Our next objective, describe the causes and effects of European alliances. I'm going to give you them in detail. You just have to provide what cause and effect, the cause and effect of these. Caden?
Okay, I have Britain signed Entente, and I have Europe divided into armed camps, and then arms races.
No, keep going.
I have those two, and then I accidentally read the last one.
Okay. So the cause, we have tension, distrust, military issues. The effect of this is going to cause protection, support, natural resources. Okay? Here are the alliances in detail, but the reasons why these are even necessary, we have all of this going on. We have people with enormous militaries that are starting to give rhetoric or giving speeches that are saying that they could become aggressive, i.e. Kim Jong-un, North Korea. We know they have a military. The way he is talking amongst his peers being other nations that are loyal to them. For example, just recently he said, should we go to conflict, I can't guarantee we'll protect you. And those are military allies to that country. Okay? It's the same thing what we have going on now. Except for there are about 6 countries engaged in this. Alright? 10 times. The effect, protection, support, and natural resources. Positive, positive, positive. Okay, now with this, you need to remember natural resources equals money. We need that to build a military. Excellent. Next objective. Describe how ethnic tensions in the Balkans sparked a political assassination. Mr. Fowler?
Fought among themselves over war, powder keg, and attacked Turkey.
Very good. So we have years of oppression of the Serbs by the Austrians. Okay, oppression meaning their government is very restricting, not allowing personal freedoms or even what some would argue are human rights. Years of oppression. Led to the creation of that terrorist group, the Black Hands, and on June 24th, 1914, the assassination occurs. Okay, it's that constant reminder. You know, maybe people say you push someone and push someone so far, and suddenly they'll just snap. You bully someone to a point, and then finally, you know what, they'll just do something about it, whether they start yelling at you or fight you, or worse. It's the same theory here, but on a national level. Okay, you can only oppress people so long before they rise up and form a revolution, the American Revolution. Okay, that's what we have going on there. Specify how other nations were drawn into the conflict between Austria-Hungary and Serbia. So we know that the conflict occurs, and that the assassination takes place. Why are other nations being pulled in? Nate?
Many alliances.
Many alliances, absolutely. Okay, Germany allies itself with Austria-Hungary. They're horrified by that assassination. They view it as horrible. But this is their entrance. This gives them that reason to become involved. Okay, so it's that bigger brother saying, yeah, this is ridiculous. We need to do something about this. Let's handle this right now. Okay, they're going to handle it in their mind, in their eyes. They're going to handle it appropriately. Russia will defend its Slavic partners. Okay, the Serbs. Eventually, as Germany continues its aggression, starts attacking the next door neighbors, Belgium, from the map, Great Britain is compelled to join. They have to. Just look at the helmet count on that map. Okay, they have to do something about this, or it's going to snowball into something far worse, including German occupation in Great Britain. And then the final objective. Explain whom historians blame for the outbreak of World War I. Who's to blame for this? Maslach?
Gavrilo Princip.
Okay, that's one perspective. Gavrilo Princip. Now why?
Because he assassinated the Austrian Archduke Francis.
Yeah, very good, because he fired the shot. That's one perspective. What's another one? So people say Gavrilo Princip.
Germany?
Germany, why? What do you guys think? Why is Germany to blame for World War I? What do you think? The assassination takes place. Could it have ended there? Could they have stayed out and allowed Austria-Hungary to handle its own affairs?
No.
They could have.
They could have.
But they would have.
But then what would Russia have done?
Took over Germany.
Because of that Slavic alliance. Okay? The ultimate reason as far as why Germany is to blame is their whole mantra of going forth with exponential growth of their own territory. They pushed and said, you know, we need to do something about this. Now Russia's involved. What are we going to do here? Let's go to war. And then, for whatever reason, because if you just consider that map, the conflict's taking place on the bottom right, so they invade the country to the left. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
Instead of even worrying about what's going on just north of Greece, they invade just to the west in Belgium. You could tell right from that initial action, all they wanted was territory. And now they'll go forth and get that. That's all we have today. On the next slide, you're going to see the assignment. Just know it's the same thing as far as the first section. All this means here is that continue on that lined piece of paper you already have. If you need another one, you'll just staple it and then progressively staple more papers. But nonetheless, number 1, you're just going to define those terms on page 822. And 3 through 6, use the directions the book provided. Excellent job today.